Shalom. Call law Yahweh Shem Yahshai by Shem Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles at Great Millstone that rule and teach well. To the Akim on the four corners of this earth, teaching his truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways. And to the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification, coming with another lesson. And this lesson will be pretty much truth is not a platform to make money. And when you look at things, pretty much, you know who is trying to use this platform to make money. It's pretty much these Christian churches and these other camps, you know. And most of these other camps have really sold out. You know, they sold out. They sold out for the devil, you know what I'm saying? Esau Edom, self-proclaimed so-called white man, you know. So this truth is not to be making money off, you know what I'm saying? And most of these camps and pastors, you know, that's what they do for self-glory, you know. Basically to feel their feelings and, you know, and stroke their ego. But this truth is precious, you know. And the most important thing, what they're supposed to be doing is feeding the sheep, not trying to make any money for themselves, you know, because that's not what this truth is for, you know. You know, it's here to feed the elect and the sheep, you know what I'm saying, and to worship Yahweh Shem Yahshai. And when you look at things, you can't serve two masters, you know. It's either Yahweh Shem Yahshai or the devil, you know. And we choose Yahweh Shem Yahshai. And like Isaiah 58:1 says, you know, cry out loud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet and show our people their transgressions, you know. And that's what you're supposed to be doing, you know. You're supposed to be pushing this truth out, not to spare anybody, you know, spare people feelings, you know. And that's one thing what our people do. They always trying to coon, you know, because they don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, you know. They want to, you know, accept what the world is doing and play both sides, you know. You know, jumping on one side and then jumping on the other side, you know. No, it don't work like that, you know. I can see the pastors doing that, but these other camps, no, you're supposed to be preaching the truth and not holding back, and definitely not trying to make money, you know. And that's what they love to do, you know. Let's go to the first scripture, 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 2. First Peter chapter 5, verse 2. Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Yeah, you know, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Yeah, this is the main purpose is to have a ready mind, you know what I'm saying? Not to try to push this truth for filthy lucre's sake, because that's not going to get you nowhere. You know, you don't supposed to be selling this truth for anything like that, to be filling your pockets, you know. Pretty much being a hypocrite, a gangsayer, you know. Trying to basically make someone else feel good instead of, you know, feeding the sheep, you know. Looking at things like, I don't want to hurt this person's feelings, but instead you want to speak smooth things, you know what I'm saying? So you can reap a reward. And it don't work like that, you know. You know how the scriptures say, freely give, freely receive, you know. And that's what this main thing that we really supposed to be doing, you know. Not to gain popularity, not to have no status, you know what I'm saying, on social media where you becoming this some superstar or some star. No, it don't work like that. Because Yahweh Shai, he sees what you're doing, you know. And that's what our people do, you know. Let me read that back again. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 2. Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. Yeah, of a ready mind, because this truth is supposed to be freely give and freely receive, and you're supposed to feed that sheep so they can build their faith up and become, you know what I'm saying, you know, this most important thing is with, you know, salvation for our people, you know. And only the elected 1/3 is going to receive this. So you're supposed to be willing in, you know, good bait, you know, a good catch. I mean, you know, you put that bait on that line, on that hook, and you cast it out, and you're supposed to be receiving a good catch. But when you feeding the sheep just to, you know, fill your pockets and make you feel good, then you're going the wrong route. You know what I'm saying? That's not the route that you're supposed to go. Let's go with chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. Slaki. Heal the sick, cleanse the lepers, raise the dead, cast out devils. Freely ye have received, freely give. Yeah. This word did not cost us anything at all to receive this truth, you know. So the only thing that costs is putting in the time, you know. And that's one thing that truly costs, you know. Not to, you know, push this truth and thinking that you're gonna get a couple dollars back and anything. No, it don't work like that, you know. You know, and the brothers, you know, out on the four corners, you know, pushing this truth. They're not doing it, you know, selling, you know, breakdowns to get money, you know, or to receive money back. No, they doing it because this is the whole duty of man. You know what I'm saying? Of the Israelite man, you know, is to push this truth. You know, and that's what's freely ye have received, freely give. You know, and that's a rewarding thing right there. You know that you feeding the sheep, feeding the flock. You know, which is really important. You know, so. Anything else, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Let's go back to that 1 Peter's chapter 1, verse 5, verse 2. Feed the flock of the Most High, which is among you, taking the oversight thereof, not by constraint, but willingly, not for filthy lucre, but of a ready mind. And like I say, this is not a material game. This is nothing far as trying to become rich with this truth. You know, the most important thing is we're supposed to be trying to work out our salvation, fear and tremble, you know, looking to be saved, you know, basically, you know, the Akim and their family, you know what I'm saying? Want to make it on those chariots, you know. So pushing this truth throughout the four corners of the earth is not, you know, to get rich. You know, it's not for filthy lucre. It's not to be feeding your ego, you know, so you can have popularity and see, look at me, you know what I'm saying, and This is not to be like trying to be a tough guy either, be all hard and all that. This is to feed the meek and the lonely, which is the Israelites, Slakia, the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American. Feed the sheep. And that's what Yahweh Shemi Al Shai loves when you feed that sheep, Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 33. Even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit, but the profit of many, that they may be saved. Yeah. Even as I please all men in all things, not seeking my own profit. Yeah. We're not seeking no profit like people, pretty much the people in Babylon here, you know what I'm saying? All these people, they're trying to become a superstar either in sports, or they're trying to become a musician, you know what I'm saying, making money in that type of field, or a rapper, or even a movie star, or some entrepreneur that's making a whole lot of money, you know what I'm saying? If it's in real estate or anything, we just trying to get our daily bread, all that stuff, that doesn't matter, you know what I'm saying? We thankful for Yahweh Shemi Al Shai blessing us to have a job, and yeah, the brothers have jobs, to pay our bills and get our daily bread, you know what I'm saying, and take care of our families. That's what's important. We're not trying to be, profit anything, and like he's saying here, seek my own profit, No, we're trying to seek Yahweh Shemi Al Shai. Matthew's chapter 6 and 33, you know what I'm saying? Seek ye the kingdom of God, you know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing, yeah, because that's what's important, not what these people are doing, They're trying to feed their own flesh, and you ain't gonna get nowhere with that. Not at all. Cause see, what we're doing is we're laying up our treasures in heaven, you know what I'm saying? Paraphrasing, let me get that. Matthew's chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure up on earth. Yeah, because we're not, like I said again, we're not trying to become successful in this place. We already know this place is done. This place is, like they say, stick the fork, and this is over with. You know what I'm saying? This place is done. You know what I'm saying? But Esau, he gonna push his lies out there, to make it seem like everything is going real good in this place, but it's not. It's on his last leg, Start Matthew chapter 6, verse 19. Lay not up for yourselves treasure upon earth, where moth and rust do corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. Verse 20. But lay up for yourself treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust do corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. Yeah, because like we're putting all our trust in Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, That's where we land our treasures up. We land our treasures up in heaven, the heavenly things, you know what I'm saying? Now, nothing on earth that's going to be all burnt up. This place is not going to matter. This place is done. And that's where we putting our, that's where we laying our treasures up. Through the power of Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, Because salvation is what's important. These prophecies is playing a part, That's popping off the scriptures, Popping off the page, these prophecies. So, as far as anything else, we don't want nothing in Babylon, you know what I'm saying? We know the true riches is this truth, you know what I'm saying? And like I say again, Matthew 6:33, seek the kingdom of the Most High. That's what we're doing. We're seeking the kingdom of the Most High and nothing else, So let me go to John chapter 2, verse 13 through 16, and I'll end on that. John chapter 2, start at verse 13. And the Jews' Passover was at hand, and Yahushua went up to Jerusalem, verse 14, and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves, and the changers of money sitting. Verse 15, and when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. Verse 16, the point. And said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. Yeah, because we are the house of the temple, you know what I'm saying? We are no house of merchandise, you know what I'm saying? And the Akim don't push this word to make any money, you know what I'm saying? And the most important thing is to push this truth. And, we are the temple. And that's why the brothers out on the four corners to push this truth and nothing else, you know what I'm saying? Not to receive anything as far as merchandise or anything that Esau, you know what I'm saying, a gift of stores of heart. We don't want any of your gifts. We trying to push this truth, and that's the true riches. This is the precious jewels, rubies. This truth, which means more than anything, you know what I'm saying? Yep. So let me end on Mark 8, Mark chapter 8, verse 36 and 37. For what should it profit a man if he should gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Verse 37. Or what should a man give in exchange for his soul? Yeah. Because, see, these people that sold out, you know what I'm saying, in some of these camps, they sold out. And most of the stars, they didn't did the same thing, So they sold their soul to the devil, self-proclaimed so-called white man, Esau Edom, which is Alawam, red man, They sold their soul, And what should they gain the whole world? They're not going to gain the whole world. They sold their soul for something that's non-profitable. And like I say, what's profitable is this truth. So, like I say, this truth is not to be made, not to make money off. It's to feed the sheep and wake up the elect, the 144,000, which is that new song of Revelations 14:1, so we can get out of here, you know what I'm saying? That's what's important. That's the real riches. This truth. So don't sell your soul for something that doesn't matter. What really matters is Yahweh Shem Yahushai and His truth. So I hope this was edifying. This is your brother Dawadah. I want to say Shalom. Call all Yahweh Shem Yahushai by Shem Rukakadash. Double honors to the apostles, that great millstone that rule and teach well. To the Akim on the four corners, teaching His truth, risking their lives each and every day on the highways and the byways. And the brothers and sisters tuning in for edification. Shalom.